Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Tamriel. Welcome everybody to Final Fantasy XIV commentary. Today I'll be talking about why I absolutely freaking love the Final Fantasy XIV community and the player base of this game. After playing the game for about a year and a half already, I honestly do not want to turn back. I love the fact that I found this game and I got to meet so many amazing people. Even to this very day, just recently I did a live stream where I was just doing some House of the Dead runs and I was just hanging out with people in Discord, and a lot of them are Final Fantasy XIV players, and genuinely those people represent the kind of community and the kind of folks I met over on Final Fantasy XIV. Now, please don't get me wrong, this is not me saying Final Fantasy XIV community trumps all MMO communities out there and Final Fantasy XIV is the best. No, this is not a video to just stroke the EPing of the Final Fantasy XIV. This is just me wanting to gush a little bit about the Final Fantasy XIV community and my experience with them. See, when I first started playing MMOs in general, my very primary first MMO was World of Warcraft, and over the years I started getting accustomed to the PvE content and group content that was just prevalent within World of Warcraft. And if you've ever played World of Warcraft at higher levels, back maybe in Cataclysm or World of Draenor or anything, and commonly I remember even in PvP and PvE and raiding and Lafar and just general raiding with randoms, I got a lot of toxic people, right? And at the time I didn't realize that it just was so terrible until I, ventured onto other pastures and saw the, how green the grass is on the other side. But ideally we had I've had to deal with some terrible people that would tell me to go kill myself, would say a lot of derogatory terms, would say a bunch of racist terms, and just, it was kind of a mess, to be completely honest. And it's not the fact that the game is bad itself. Whenever you go into a raid or whenever you go into PvP, you're going to play with people that want to win, that want to actually accomplish something, and things get heated. Sometimes you'll be called out on some things you're doing poorly, and maybe somebody will say, hey, retard, why aren't you doing this mechanic when you're supposed to be doing that? And really at the end of the day, if let's say you're doing PvP or something and somebody is calling you out for not doing what you're supposed to, they're not really doing it because they hate you or they have anything specific against you. They're trying to maybe offer some sort of help, although it's not the nicest way to put it, which is completely fine with me. And even in dungeons, you will never get nice people. The best you can do is find a person that doesn't say anything, right? They just run the content, that doesn't say anything, they don't say hello or anything. They don't say anything mean, and that's the best you will get ever. They say nothing negative, and you just kind of run with it and roll with it, and thankful that none of you in the party are actually communicating and just doing the instance, Yes, accomplishing the goal. And please don't misunderstand, it's not that I'm just being oversensitive or anything. I completely understand that it is what it is. In most MMOs you experience this kind of treatment, especially if you're doing, things on a higher endgame level such as raiding or PvP or dungeons or whatever. You will get people that will get frustrated at you, and sometimes they'll cross some lines or they'll say something extremely offensive or something that may offend you or may not be exactly nice. And as somebody who spent a decent amount of time on the internet and playing MMOs and playing online, I learned to grow tough skin. I understand that the players don't particularly have anything against me, it's just how they communicate, how they talk, and whenever you do PvP or raiding, things will get heated and people will call you out, and generally they won't be always nice to you. It is what it is, and I'm not saying it's, it's fine and that's what it should be exactly. It's just instead of trying to deal with it or trying to change it, I just grew tough skin and didn't let it bother me and just left it as status quo. I didn't think much about it because if it doesn't bother me, it doesn't affect me, I just thought that I'll be just fine. Well, anyway, that kind of became the status quo for me for every MMO out there. And then when I started venturing out, I started putting myself in the perspective that I'm gonna receive the same thing, simply because that's what I was used to. And whenever I play Rift, I saw the similarities with the same status quo. When I played Black Desert Online, I saw some similarities with that. Guild Wars 2 didn't have any similarities until I started getting into Heart of Thorns content. Now, I will not touch it with a 10-foot pole. I know a lot of people are passionate and love Heart of Thorns, so I will stop right there with any kind of not positive comments, simply put. Elder Scrolls Online was really awesome. I still play it to this very day, and it's really fun. It's just, I don't typically interact with a lot of people, but the interactions that I've had with them were pretty genuine and pretty good. I just don't think I gave ESO too much of my time. I generally should explore the community to see what it's like, but I don't know, maybe someday I will do so. And I know that some people out there, they'll probably think that I'm just complaining to complain and trying to nitpick some reasons out there, but the thing is, I didn't realize that I was stuck in the status quo. At first I realized it was just normal until I got into Final Fantasy XIV. I remember when I first got into the game and I had to do a dungeon, a level 15 dungeon. As soon as I entered, before the intro cinematic for the dungeon even appeared, I got people saying hello in chat, and I was surprised. All three other party members said hello. Every single time we came up to a boss, they would ask me, since I had the the leaf marker, the new player marker, if I knew the fight or if I needed, things explained by any chance. They welcomed me as a new player and said, hey, like, as a new player, do you need this explained? Have you done this before? And I told them, no, I haven't. And I took the time to explain the mechanics in detail, and that became the new status quo for me. As I keep playing the game more and more, I started experiencing what the community is like and just getting to know just random strangers being nice to me. To some of you, it may seem like, yeah, this is fine, it's just how it's supposed to be, but it was extremely jarring after being stuck in this status quo. Just this toxic status quo that permeated from World of Warcraft and spread to other MMOs and was still the status quo until I got into Final Fantasy XIV. I started realizing that maybe my status quo was wrong. Maybe I should start trying out this new culture and see what it's like. So I got some tips from a couple of dungeon runs, a couple of runs with the people, and they generally told me some of the good tips out there is if I don't know what if I don't know the mechanics of the dungeon, just let my group know ahead of time so that somebody can explain me as I run through it. And generally I started getting used to doing that every single time. If I did a dungeon that I've never done, I would say, hey, I've never done this before, I appreciate any kind of assistance or support that you can offer, and people were generally nice. They would take time to do slightly slower pulls, make sure that I was able to understand the fights and mechanics, and it's not like they treated me, like as if I'm some ostracized player that never played mechanics or never played MMOs ever. They saw that I was competent in being able to play MMOs. I mean, it's not like I was just starting off player completely. I told them that I played World of Warcraft before, so I knew the gist of MMOs. It's just, what took me back is like, people were nice. After experiencing status quo, do you know how weird it is to go to an MMO that feels like people are just genuinely nice? And it's not just dungeon party members. I remember entering a free company and getting on TeamSpeak with them and just socializing with them. For the first couple of moments, I was just quiet. Every single time we got together, I would just say hello and just be quiet and just listen to the conversations. And they seemed really fun-loving people. They were just generally cool, joking around, having fun, doing instances together while I was leveling. At a certain point, they asked me if I needed help figuring out certain instances or if I needed gear. At the time, I also had a main character or semi-main character over in Lamia around level 26. I amounted maybe about almost to 100,000 gil on there. I was about level 26, 25, and I was doing pretty good on there. And I was exploring Exodus. Exodus was not my main server when I first joined. And the free company leader there, when I joined in, he told me, hey, why don't you just move over to Exodus? I explained in my situation that I have another alt, or I guess my main over on Lamia, level 26, almost 100,000 gil, I was really proud of the character. And he went and said, hey, how about we, level you up to level 26, get you the same gear, get you better gear even, get you better weapons, start you off with, a nice padding for your alt character in Exodus. Then when it reimbursed me threefold for the gil that I had on my main, gave me 300,000 gil from the start compared to almost 100,000 that I had, surprised me completely. Gave me a lot of neat stuff, gave me some gear that they had left over, some high quality gear, some weapons, just some little things here and there that didn't really cost them much, but to me it meant a lot. And at first it confused me because at first, after being stuck and getting used to the status quo, at first I thought, why would he be doing that? He doesn't benefit from this. He doesn't benefit from giving me 300 gil. He could be using those 300 gil to do something else with them. I don't know. I didn't understand the economy at the time, but I was like, this is not money that I earned. It's not money that I should have. I should own. Why are you doing this? Why are they helping me out? What is in it for them to help me out? And then I realized that they were just doing it out of the kindness and generosity of themselves. They were just people trying to help out another player, go over and have another good reason to stick on their server and be part of the free company. And it made me realize that I was thinking about this all wrong. What I had, the status quo that I was used to, was messed up, and it was wrong. I was wrong on so many levels. I like to take time to read some of the Reddit posts that I found regarding why Final Fantasy XIV community is so good. I found one from 2014 and one from 2016, actually a very recent 5-month-old post. If you guys want to read them yourselves and read some of the replies that people have gotten, you're more than welcome to. I'm just gonna read some of them out here. I will leave the Reddit post links to the description. One of them is a little bit old, from 2014, submitted 2 years ago by somebody called Lucavius, and the post is called, "Why is the Final Fantasy XIV community so goddamn friendly?" I mean, this is a serious question. Look at every other online game community: WoW, Diablo, League, Guild Wars, Star Wars, WildStar, and so on and on. Posts about people just goofing around with silly dances makes the front page, either server coming together to vanquish hunts where everyone gets credits, etc. What is different about this game that other online games that make players not act like animals? And one of the good responses was one of the first ones from Time Go. He posted 3, I guess, comedic posts and then wrote at the end, "Here's my theory. Of all the games you named, this is the only Japanese production. It is that odd to Western at least, Japanese combination of serious themes, nauseating cutesiness, and self-mockery that permeates Japanese pop culture, like anime, manga, and JRPGs. Something about it attracts people who are generally not awful, at least who are politely awful. Tiltier, if you like to play a Lalafell who lounges around in a yukata, you probably aren't a bad person." And I know this is just comedic, it's just a funny post. I understand it's not meant to be as serious, it's meant to be taken more of a joke and kind of anecdotal, but it kind of maybe is true, possibly. I mean, think about it. I don't think I've ever met a lot of people that like anime, like manga, or like JRPGs in general as a title, you know, things like Final Fantasy XIV and so on, that were jerks. I mean, sure, there are probably people out there like that, but is it because of the culture? Is it because of the way the game permeates this Japanese media? Is this why? Is it because it feels like almost like an anime or manga or whatever, or like a JRPG? Is it because of that? I mean, could, possibly. A lot of people describe this game being too anime for their personal tastes, and part of the reason why they don't play it. Maybe it's it, I don't know. What I found preferably in the game is just, I wanted to find an MMO. I didn't care about, you know, whether it looks too anime or not. I didn't care whether it was an JRPG or not. I didn't care what culture it was surrounded by, because I just wanted to find an MMO and just give it a try, and simply went for it. It was just kind of luck of the draw sort of thing for me personally, and I'm honestly really happy that I went for it. There are a lot of other posts out there that are pretty funny, you know, some are satirical, some are just comical, some are serious. I'll link it to you to read in the description below. The other post I found that highly harmonizes with the reasons why I left World of Warcraft for Final Fantasy XIV. If you haven't seen the video, I'll leave the card for it in the top right of the video, right there, hopefully. Nevertheless, the post is by Blonde Monger. It was submitted 5 months ago. Thanks to the Final Fantasy XIV community for making this game so nice, and I want to read a paragraph, a secondary paragraph from the post. "I left WoW recently with a sour taste in my mouth. I was just sick of the toxic community and elitists who would rage at new people as if they were never new before. I knew every game has its ragers, but WoW practically makes you feel like you were less than if you helped others. I would get ridiculed for trying to help people who didn't know the content." And then goes on about how he got surprised as well, like I did, when they came to Final Fantasy XIV, joined a free company, or started just interacting with players in group content, dungeons, guild hests, fates, whatever, just players that are running around in the middle of capital cities, and started realizing that, like, literally, quote, "Holy shit, you guys actually pride yourselves on being nice and welcoming to others." That is directly from the post, and I agree. It baffled me that players were genuinely nice for no reason whatsoever. They got nothing from it other than just being genuinely nice. I don't know what it is about Final Fantasy XIV, but to me, that is a part that hits me, just hits home with me so much. Because I realized that it wasn't that, you know, the game was nice, it's just I was so used to the status quo. That's it, that was the problem. The status quo in most MMOs is primarily, I guess, originates from World of Warcraft and ends up permeating into other games, and it becomes the norm for most MMOs to have that. And I'm telling you, if you have the same feeling, or if you ever had the same kind of feeling of you feel like every MMO has this kind of same community, try Final Fantasy XIV. Like, don't have to use any kind of promo codes. I'm not sponsored whatsoever. Just try the demo, interact with the community, do some dungeons, see what the game is like, give it a legit go, give it a try. Honestly, this has been... I'm glad that I got into Final Fantasy XIV. I'm glad I'm still playing today, and I'm looking forward to the Stormblood expansion, and I'm just looking forward to interacting with more people. I've actually did a live stream recently of us running some Palace of the Dead, just in Final Fantasy XIV, and I was talking to a lot of players that, you know, are fans of the channel and play Final Fantasy XIV themselves, and they're just fun-loving people. I've never met these people in my life. I know some of them for a short period of time, some I knew for quite, you know, months, maybe almost a year or so. And it's just so awesome to be able to interact with just genuinely nice people. This is good. This feels awesome, and it hits really, it hits a very, very pleasant nerve with me. It makes me enjoy the game a lot more. I don't know. It's just, it's not just the community itself, it's the content. I actually genuinely enjoy the PvP, although I know it's not a popular thing within the game. I like how the PvE is, I love the jobs, I love how everything works in Final Fantasy. I love how you unlock flying, I love the music, the visuals, even though, you know, it's still being hampered down by PS3 limitations. It's still a gorgeous game, it still is able to captivate me, and the music is able to enchant me completely. I often find myself just sometimes listening to the Final Fantasy XIV original soundtrack, or from the Heavensward, you know, from the Heavensward album on YouTube sometimes when I'm doing chores or whatever. It's just enjoyable. I don't know what it is. It's just, I think I generally found a game that I like. If you ever felt this status quo, or this feeling of this status quo, and you want to try to change that, give a game a try, or give any game out there a try. Hell, give a new genre a try. Leave MMOs for a little bit. Try MOBAs, FPSs, try RTSs. I'm not really sure if those are popular really at this point, but try different games out there, try different genres, and give it a go. Don't be afraid to, you know, go off by yourself. I did it, and I went off by myself to find other MMOs without any friends or anybody to play things with, which was a little bit difficult, and it will be difficult, but you'll find other people to interact with online and be able to do content with them and be able to run instances or games and just play together. Try different things out, and if you feel like you're stuck in the status quo and you want to change it, look for other things out there. Look for other, I guess, greener pastures is the best way I can put it. Well, not really greener pastures, but just other pastures out there that you might enjoy in the future. If you don't want to try Final Fantasy XIV, you don't have to. I completely understand. But just, if you're sick of status quo, try something different out there. That's really it. That's all I can really say. This has been more like a rant rather than anything. I'm probably not gonna edit this too much. This is just me being gushing about getting away from the status quo. And I want to be stuck in it, and I want to try something different and new, and just maybe be surprised by it. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and actually end this video right here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about what I said in the comments below about the status quo, about Final Fantasy XIV, or any other MMO that you, or game out there that you found. Maybe you played an FPS out there, you know, a popular FPS series, and you left it for another game out there, and you fell in love with the community and the game itself and how everything is, you know? I don't know, just let me know if you experienced the same thing, I guess. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed me gushing and being really sappy about the Final Fantasy XIV community. My name is Stamriel. Like, subscribe, and as always, have a great day, and I'll see you guys all in the next video, and hopefully I'll make it something a little bit more analytical and serious. I want to try to bring that back as much as possible. It's just, I really wanted to gush about it. It's just been a really good night so far, and I don't know, just, I guess this is the only platform I really have to talk about these kind of things. Nevertheless, see you guys.